Love, along with Peyton Aldridge, that 1-2 combination, will have to try and keep pace with a North Carolina team that is shorthanded. Joel Berry with a sprained left ankle against Radford on Sunday. So arguably the best player that Roy Williams has on his team this season out of the lineup tonight. It really seems Fonz to be bothering the future Hall of Famer. 8 Final Fours, 5 national title games. And he has dealt with adversity before. And tonight he'll have to turn things over to Nate Britt and 7th Woods, the freshman. That combination is going to have to carry the load in the backcourt in the absence of Berry.
Yeah, Nate Britt, as a senior, has been there before. He's given him excellent leadership from the point guard position. I expect nothing different tonight.
If there is a formula tonight for Davidson to pull off the upset, what is it?
They got to keep this North Carolina team off the offensive glass. Number 4 in the country in second chance points at 17 points per game. Get 44% of their misses for first in the nation.
And it did not take long for Ted Valentine to blow his whistle as he charges a foul to Kenny Williams in the backcourt. And now we may have a clock issue. No, take that. We've got some confetti that just was accidentally released from the ceiling here at the Dean Smith Center. So that confetti is now falling on Roy Williams' bench. And they're going to have to get a broom out and make sure that the court is clean before we are going to be able to resume play.
I think they found out that you were in the house, Bob, and released that a little prematurely.
Yeah, this seems to be the reaction that follows me from site to site. Now, Bob McKillop, you know, there is something to be said with not messing with happy. And if you are in a place that makes you happy, why not stay? And that is exactly what Bob McKillop has done for 28 years as the head coach at Davidson. So happy, in fact, he lives across the street from campus. All 3 of his children went to Davidson. His son, Matt, played for him at Davidson and now is his lead assistant. And on top of that, his son married a Davidson girl. His wife is Kelsey.
Keeping it in the family.
So talk about keeping it in the family. And there's something to be said about if you find a spot in one of the quote-unquote or so-called mid-majors and you have success there, I'm sure these men have all had opportunities to leave their respective institutions, and they've all stayed.
Why bother a good thing when you've got a good thing going? Those 3 have really established beautiful programs throughout the years. They've been able to recruit to their style, and that's what's allowed them to be so competitive and so successful over their tenure.
And when you talked about coaches that you admire, where the style lends itself to wanting your son to go and play for that type of a coach, Bob McKillop for you is one that came to mind.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better. I've seen his practices throughout the years. I love how he develops his players over 4 years. I love the fact that they utilize the 3-point line to their advantage. And if you're a guard out there, Davidson is a great place to be, especially if you can shoot it from 3. And this is something Davidson's going to have to deal with, full court and half court pressure. Can they keep from turning the basketball over so they can get looks at the basket? It's going to be a huge key tonight.
Way off the mark is Jack Gibbs on his first attempt, but gets it back. They swing it to Goodmanson. That's in and out. And the rebound eventually ends up with Justin Jackson. Jackson tries a 3. To Will McGarity.
He can make that shot.
He didn't that time. And Jackson has another rebound in the corner.
I think that ball's got to go inside here early.
Nate Britt stepped on the sideline. Nate Britt just lost where he was on the court, how close he was to the boundary, and turned it over, so it goes back over to Davidson. And an offensive rebound or 2, that has to be something that makes Bob McKillop encouraged, because that seemed, with the size differential that a Davidson team will normally have against North Carolina, to be a big concern of his as Peyton Aldridge hits the baby jumper.
Yeah, they have a lot of fight, does this Davidson Wildcats team. But right now on the offensive end, I'd like to see North Carolina get something in the paint.
The runner won't go for Jackson, and the rebound ends up with Rusty Regal.
The early push can be good for Davidson as well because of how many 3-point shooters they have on the floor. Carolina's overplaying a lot of those wings. Back cuts open.
Regal draws a foul. And it looks like they will say yes, continuation, and give him 2 shots. That foul's going to go against Justin Jackson. That's his first.
I like the strategy here so far for Davidson. They've been patient on the offensive end, switching sides of the floor. And when you can do that against an aggressive defense, it'll create some opportunities for you to the basket. Nice execution there by Rusty Regal.
All time against North Carolina, Davidson is 11-64. They've lost 7 in a row in this series. Their last win was all the way back in 2001 here in Chapel Hill at the Dean Smith Center.
Punch that ball inside, Carolina. Size advantages and mismatches all over the floor.
Now they get it to Kennedy Meeks, who throws it to the corner out of the double team. Britt can't hit the 3. Offensive rebound, Meeks. Kennedy Meeks throws it away right through the legs of Isaiah Hicks.
Yeah, he's not handling that double team very well. In the double team, you got to be patient, make sure you see the weak side of the floor, and don't allow it to speed you up. It sped Kennedy Meeks up there, and he turned the basketball over. There'll be a lot more poised against the double team. Continue to change sides of the floor offensively for Davidson.
That 3's in and out for Aldridge. Davidson at 5-2 to start off the season. They lost to Clemson and College of Charleston. Carolina 8-1. Their only loss to Indiana. They've got wins against Long Beach State, Oklahoma State, Wisconsin to their credit. Hicks can't hit. And Regal ends up with the rebound. Took it away from Kennedy Meeks.
Yeah, Hicks has got to go up and dunk that basketball when he catches it that low in the painted area.
Slow start for both teams offensively, but it shortens the game for Davidson. In the post, flipping one up, getting it to go is Peyton Aldridge, and he has a chance to give the Wildcats a 5-0 or 7-0 lead.
He's the best all-around player on this Davidson team, can play inside and out. We've seen him shoot it from 3, but watch how patient he is when he catches the basketball down in the post. We talked about patience being the virtue down in the block, and Peyton Aldridge drawing a foul and an opportunity for a 3-point play here. Nicely done by Davidson.
Isaiah Hicks called for his first. What a start for Davidson. They'll go to the bench and bring Jordan Watkins in, as he will replace John Axel Gudmundsson. And the crowd here at Chapel Hill trying to get the heels into the game.
Waiting too long to throw that basketball down in the post to the bigs.
Meeks immediately double team. Immediately Hicks is double teamed. Nearly a turnover. Unable to hit from point blank range was Jackson. And North Carolina still can't get on the board.
This is the 20-win machine program over the last 5 years. They will not back down.
Moving screen set by Aldridge. He tried to free up Jack Gibbs and gets called for his first foul.
Jack, so far this game is being played at a Davidson pace. They've kept North Carolina off the offensive boards. They kept them out of transition. And if they can continue to do that throughout the game, they've got a shot.
This is a team that's used to winning.
And remember last year, they were without several of their players shorthanded, and they were still able to come up with 20 wins. That's remarkable.
Hustling to the corner and unable to keep it alive was Nathan Ekwu. But the shot clock down to 11 for North Carolina, still looking for their first points.
And that's a tough angle to try to make that post entry. Got to get that ball over to the wing.
Shot clock to 6. Britt is going to have to force one up. Out to Jackson from way outside. How about that for the first points of the game for North Carolina? That's normally where a certain Davidson alum knocks him down from.
Big confidence boost for him because he's been very up and down from the three-point line all season. Nice back cut by McGarity.
Seal inside. McGarity draws the foul, and if that's on Hicks, and it is, that's his second. So the front court depth early will be challenged for North Carolina as Isaiah Hicks is in foul trouble as we hit Jim Valvano's dream to defeat cancer. Bob Wischusen, LaFonso Ellis. Now, we got here about 2 hours before game time. A guy beat us to the court, though, and that was Justin Jackson. This, over 2 hours before game time. He was in uniform. LaFonso out there working on his shot, something that Roy Williams wants to see improve, and we already saw early evidence of that improvement.
Indeed, and you don't get better in practice. You get better with the extra work that you did, and just when North Carolina needed someone to knock down a shot, Justin Jackson shooting one from Raleigh.
And on top of that, without Joel Berry, so they don't have their best player, arguably, certainly their leader at the point guard spot. Theo Pinson still recovering from the broken foot. He's due back probably when ACC play about begins. How much better can this team get once they start to get weapons to add to what they already have?
Oh, now all of a sudden they become very deep, and you're talking about a Joel Berry who's shooting 42% from the three-point line. He'll certainly loosen it up on the inside for the bigs. What a big shot.
That's a defensive breakdown. You can't leave Jack Gibbs alone at the three-point line.
A little miscommunication there as to who was going to go out and take him. If you're going to switch it, you got to communicate it and make it and get it done quickly.
Jackson turns it over. A pass too hot to handle for the freshman Tony Bradley. That's 3 turnovers already for North Carolina.
And Justin Jackson knows he should have thrown that basketball up to the rim, that Tony Bradley could easily go up and throw it down. Tony Bradley, 6'10", 240 with extremely long arms with some bounce as well.
Luke May has come on for the first time as well. And Brandon Robinson at the scorer's table, set to check in for Carolina as well. McGarity in the post. 5 to shoot. The old-fashioned hook won't go off the window. And Luke May's got the rebound.
Tony Bradley's length bothered that shot.
Down to the freshman Bradley. Hit the side of the backboard. Tried to save it. Stepped on the end line.
He caught that basketball too low below the block. Nowhere to turn. And folks, when you can score it as well as Jack Gibbs can, you can give him no room to get shots off. If you get him just an inch of space, too much room, Britt late, he knocks down the 3. That's exactly what he needs to get himself going, because as he goes, the Davidson Wildcats go.
Gibbs to the corner. Jordan Watkins misses everything, but Ekwa was able to save it. Gibbs a straightaway 3. Ekwa way up in the air and barely missed the back tap taken by Tony Bradley. May, tough shot, gets it to go.
I love the quick move before the double team took place, because so far in this game, as they turn the basketball over, so far in this game, the North Carolina bigs have not handled the rock well against the double team.
Here's Stillman White, who just came on for the first time. Robinson sets up May. Hits a 3. 5 quick ones for Luke May, and that gets the crowd into the game, and Carolina down by 2.
What a confident shot by Luke May. Only his first made 3 on the year. Oh, a timely 3 at that.
Rainbow 3 off the mark for Will McGarity. Muscling one up is Tony Bradley, and he draws the foul. And college basketball action continues on Saturday with a doubleheader on ESPN. First at 3:15 Eastern, Nebraska meets number 3 Kansas, and then at 5:15 it's 5th-ranked Duke and UNLV. Both games on ESPN. Also available streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app.
That Kansas team has one of the best backcourts in the nation, led by Frank Mason III, who's having a phenomenal year.
One great scorer sits down for Davidson. The other comes back in. Jack Gibbs averaging over 23 a game. He gets his first rest, but Peyton Aldridge, who picked up a foul just before the under-16 timeout, he's averaging close to 20 a game. Takes his place. The top 2 scoring duos in all of college basketball are both in the A-10. Gibbs and Aldridge for Davidson, and Jalen Abrams, Matt Mobley for St. Bonaventure. But it's a turnover for the Wildcats, and a chance for North Carolina to take the lead. Nice crossover by Seventh Woods. Hangs and gets it to go. And North Carolina has their first lead, an 8-0 run.
Paint points are so important to the North Carolina offense. 44 points per game, that's third in the nation. They need to continue to attack it off the bounce.
Seventh Woods the other way, leans in, a little too strong on the layup attempt. And Regal lets it go, and it will belong to Davidson.
Davidson's doing a really nice job here early, Bob, of 5 guys on the defensive boards and not allowing North Carolina to get many second chance opportunities. If they can just protect the basketball on the offensive end, they can keep it close.
Keyshawn Pritchett comes on for the first time, and that was not a long rest for Jack Gibbs. He and Aldridge both back on the floor. Are you sensing, though, that North Carolina is now getting Davidson sped up a bit? It seemed like Davidson controlled the tempo early in the half, and now the tempo belongs to Carolina. Here's another turnover. Woods runs it down. Regal pokes it out.
Yeah, and to your point, with the problem is when Aldridge goes to the bench, now all of a sudden they're limited offensively, and that's really what you're seeing. And what they want to do is really take away a lot of Gibbs' airspace. So oftentimes when you come across that half-court line, expect the double team. Didn't handle that well there, and Carolina off to the races on that possession.
Made for 3. That time came up short, but a foul called on the Wildcats, trying to box out underneath. And that will go against Nathan Ekwu. That's his first. Knocked off the leg of May. Good hands by Peyton Aldridge. It's another North Carolina turnover.
I'll tell you what, Davidson has had very active hands. Their double teams have been crisp down in low post. Anytime there's been a mishandle of the basketball in North Carolina, they've gotten several deflections. That one turning into a turnover. I think with this lineup in, number 23's in red's got to touch the rock.
Regal turns the corner, gives it up. Ekwu with the reverse, and May has the rebound. All 5 players on the floor for North Carolina are reserves. All the starters on the bench. A seal inside and a foul called. That's the second on Nathan Ekwu. So maybe a little message being sent to the starters by Roy Williams. Nothing but reserves on the floor, and the reserves have given Carolina the lead.
The reserves have done a phenomenal
game, and at times, LaFonso frustrating North Carolina as the Heels right now have only a 1-point lead, and maybe frustrated Roy Williams to the point that he took all his starters off the floor.
Indeed. You talk about a team that is an outstanding offensive rebounding team, and Davidson's done a tremendous job in the first half, only limiting North Carolina to 1 offensive rebound. So the execution there and the double teams down the low post have been very effective.
Luke May, the leading scorer for North Carolina. He's got 7 of the Heels' 13.
Got to be ready to take that shot on that skip pass.
Peyton Aldridge with the answer.
And that's where with this lineup in, Bob, every time down the floor, it has to be Peyton Aldridge, number 23 in red, and of course Gibbs, number 12.
John Axel Goodmanson with the steal. Gibbs finds Aldridge. Sloppy pass to the corner. Recovered, but turned right over. Kovacevic had his pocket picked. And getting fouled on the drive is Seventh Woods.
Bob, as the pace of this game picks up, it favors North Carolina. They are an excellent transition team.
That's the foul on Peyton Aldridge. That's his second. So let's see if Bob McKillop leaves his second leading scorer on the floor. And North Carolina, the only loss they have had this season was to Indiana. And just about in every key offensive statistical category, they basically fell off the map.
Yeah, and note the rebounding margin. IU plus 16 against one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the nation. And what a job by the reserves for the Tar Heels.
Now we'll see if the message was received by the starters.
Sometimes you got to do that. The Starters come out a bit flat, but it's nice to have the depth of reserves on your bench to be able to come and give you that kind of energy and effort, something that Davidson does not have.
Well, let's see if the starters now for North Carolina pass the eye test. If you notice a difference from the first 4 minutes where the Wildcats jumped out to a 7-0 lead.
Gibbs has got to become a playmaker off the bounce, looking for his own shot, but trying to create for teammates, especially with this lineup in.
Kovacevic outside the three-point line with 5 to shoot. Gibbs from Steph Curry range, banks it in.
My goodness, that was from the 28-foot line. That was ridiculous.
Some are saying that the Steph Curry comparisons are unfair. Keep making shots like that, we'll keep comparing you. Line drive, 3 goes down for Justin Jackson. And that puts North Carolina back on top.
That 3-ball created by a beautiful screen by Isaiah Hicks.
How about that floater off the backboard from Gibbs?
The reality is, with this lineup in, he's going to have to make all of the shots. Peyton Aldridge is their second leading scorer, and he's on the bench with 2 fouls. They are very limited right now on the offensive end, and you've seen other guys be very cautious here early.
Foul on Gudmundsson. Tied at 18, and Jack Gibbs putting on a show again from way outside Steph Curryville.
And folks, look how far he took that shot off a rhythm dribble as well. That is ridiculous. Very, oh, what a lob. Very Steph Curry-like.
The quick answer for North Carolina as Hicks puts them back up by 2.
North Carolina is so good on those inside screens, and if you don't communicate the explosive athletes that they have out on the floor, all you have to do is throw it up by the rim. That was beautiful. Will McGarity, number 22 in red's got to give Davidson something on the offensive end. Gibbs can't do it by himself.
Leans in, traveling call on Will McGarity. That is Davidson's 6th turnover.
Folks, watch the inside screens here. Nice little baseline screen there, and if you give Isaiah Hicks that kind of room, he can absolutely go and finish it as he did there. This front line of Carolina is really deep.
3 short for Nate Britt. Dusan Kovacevic the rebound. Gibbs lost it. And they say it goes off of the hands of Jack Gibbs. A Davidson turnover. That's their 7th.
Yeah, against the Carolina team, you got to be careful dribbling the basketball along the baseline because they're always looking to double. And that time did a great job of taking away Gibbs's vision, which is what created that turnover.
McGarity out. Andrew McAuliffe in the game for the first time at 6'8", 260. So he has some size underneath to help battle these big bodies. There he is trying to box out Isaiah Hicks, and instead he's called for the foul. That'll be a 1-and-1. That's team foul number 7 on Davidson. And tomorrow night on ESPN, don't miss the Home Depot College Football Awards show. Join Reese, Kirk, Dez, Lee Corso, Tom Rinaldi, Sam Ponder. The College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta is the spot. Some of the best in college football are rewarded with some hardware. That's tomorrow night at 7 Eastern on ESPN. And also streaming live on the ESPN app, and watch ESPN. Isaiah Hicks shooting 79% at the line through the first 9 games for the Heels.
I love bigs who can shoot it from the foul line, because when you get to the end of games and close game situations, you don't have to play that substitution game and lose out on your significant rebounders. Helps when your bigs can shoot free throws.
This is the largest lead for North Carolina at 4.
Gibbs wide open there on the baseline. Missed him there.
Gudmundsson will drive. Comes up short. Foul call. That should put John Axel Gudmundsson at the line.
Bob, do you notice how hesitant Davidson is to shoot the basketball even when they're wide open? You got to be fearless when you go out on the road and you're playing against one of the top teams in the nation. I felt when it's not been in Gibbs' hands and it's not been in Peyton Aldridge's hands, the rest of the guys have been a little skittish on the offensive end. They got to play with a bit more confidence. John Axel Gudmundsson as a point guard helped Iceland finish second in the FIBA Under-20 European Championship. Over the summer, named to that all-tournament team as well.
I asked Bob McKillop earlier today, tell me about basketball in Iceland. What is the talent level? He said you'd be stunned.
Really?
At how many players there are. They have a professional league, that their national teams compete in the European Championships and compete very well. And Gudmundsson was on the FIBA European Championship team that finished second for Iceland in the under-20 competition. That caroms out off of Jordan Watkins.
And Bob, Davidson is doing a really nice job of controlling tempo, but I do feel that this is where you miss Joel Berry, especially because of his ability to be able to knock down the long ball. He's shooting 42% from the three-point line, and he would loosen up the inside, which would allow the bigs to have more room to operate on the interior.
To your point, shot clock down to 5. Here's Jackson. Off to Hicks. Air ball. A foul called with 1 on the shot clock. Who will that go against? That's a tough call against Davidson. Trying to block out underneath. Jack Gibbs is called for his first, as it was about to be a North Carolina shot clock violation. Instead, it will be Tar Heels free throws when we return to the Dean Smith Center. And there is an international flavor, not only on the current roster for Davidson. All right, Doug, thanks very much. All these folks were trying to get selfies a short time ago with LaFonso Ellis.
This breaks cameras, man. They have to be careful.
I'm Bob Schusen here with Fonz, and Larry Legend is 60. Boy, how time flies. That is frightening when you think about it. What's even more frightening is how incredibly old you are. Because your career very briefly overlapped Larry Bird's career, right? The very start of your career, the very end of his.
Yeah, Larry retired in 1992, so I didn't get the privilege of playing against him, but was certainly looking forward to it. Kevin McHale was still on that Boston Celtics team, and that was a lot of fun.
Chief must have still been playing, too, right?
Still playing,
so you did go up against...
I think he's still playing.
...part of one of the greatest front lines in the history of the NBA. And if he's still playing, he's still traveling. That's a bitter Knick fan, by the way. Robert Parrish traveled every single time he ever touched the ball.
That's right.
Jack Gibbs nearly turns it over. Regal pushed off, creates space. Can't hit the three. Roy Williams wanted the push-off and didn't get the call.
Tell you what, North Carolina's defense has done a tremendous job of taking away open looks from Davidson. And so any of the looks that they've gotten from three have been challenged looks. That's a good thing for Carolina.
Hicks, deep jumper, is good. Largest lead extended for North Carolina, up to 6.
Until he can prove that he can knock that shot down consistently, Davidson is going to give him that 15-foot jump shot.
Gibbs, a little hesitation dribble, got caught in midair and was able to find McGarity.
What a pretty pass underneath. Again, McGarity's got to give him something tonight. He's got to be up there 10 points, 10 rebounds or so for Davidson to pull off this upset victory on the road.
Did Jack Gibbs get away with one here?
He's driving inside, drew a little body contact on the interior, and, well, the ball was slapped out of his hands, and so he had the ability to make that pass. What an alert play to find McGarity underneath the rim.
Kim Belton, our producer, of course, was a big man at Stanford. He thought that that was absolutely a violation on Jack Gibbs, but I think that's just a bitter big, isn't it? You know something about that.
A bitter big face?
Nice no look. Gibbs finds Kovacevic underneath.
And Bob, that's what we were talking about earlier. Gibbs doesn't necessarily have to score, but he has to be a playmaker because his ability to put it on the deck and draw two will create some open shots for Davidson on the perimeter.
Kennedy Meeks, the deep jump hook won't go. There's the size advantage for North Carolina. Keeping it alive again is Luke May. Needs to outlet to a guard, finds Jackson. Hits a three from the corner. How about the hustle play from Luke May to keep it alive?
How about the awareness to know where Justin Jackson was in the weak side corner? What a pretty read there by Luke May.
Jordan Watkins hit the backboard first. Kenny Williams tries to find Meeks. Stolen away by Jack Gibbs.
Tell you what, the other players on the floor right now for Davidson are starting to play with a little bit more confidence. I had the privilege, Bob, of playing against North Carolina in the Garden my senior year, and we went in and we were very confident, ended up knocking North Carolina off. And the point in that is when you're playing against a top team, you got to be fearless and confident. They weren't early, they are now.
Gibbs for three. Goes down for Justin Jackson. Are you sensing a danger zone right now, though, for Davidson as the lead extends to 8?
I was just getting ready to say the same, because now North Carolina is starting to play fast, and they're really good when they can get out in transition, especially if Justin Jackson is going to continue to knock down perimeter jump shots that way. Another unforced error from Davidson.
And Will McGarity and Jordan Watkins get into a little argument as well.
We talked about the work that Justin Jackson has put in, folks, and this is how it pays off. A little scramble underneath, and look at how North Carolina continues to battle on the boards, and where Luke May makes a beautiful pass to the corner. Justin Jackson knocks down his third three of the game.
Jackson finds Britt. Lost it on the way up. Jackson tries a three. The long rebound to Nate Britt, but a foul called. And again, it is going to go against Davidson, and that is against Nathan Ekwu. That's his third.
And Bob, because of the overall depth of North Carolina and the lack of it on Davidson's side, I don't know if, let's see if fatigue starts to be a factor, not only with 4 minutes to go here in the first half, but certainly in the second half, because Jack Gibbs is playing a lot of minutes right now, and I see a few guys holding their pants. They look a little tired right now.
College basketball action continuing Saturday. It's a doubleheader on ESPN, 3:15 Eastern. Nebraska takes on number 3 Kansas. Then at 5:15, it's Duke and UNLV. Both games on ESPN, also available streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. It's an old-fashioned rivalry game. Might not seem it between the Huskers and Jayhawks, but they first met in 1900.
Wow.
When they were conference rivals from the Missouri Valley to the Big 6, the Big 7, the Big 8, the Big 12. Until Nebraska eventually ended up in the Big 10.
Yeah, with Josh Jackson now starting to come into his own, the freshman, the terrific freshman of Kansas. Now all of a sudden they become a true Final Four contender. What a
block by Tony Bradley. Shot clock down to 3. Regal lost it.
Mace open inside. Get it to him.
Instead, May comes outside to get the basketball and commits an offensive foul. That was the last foul to give for North Carolina, so we will shoot free throws the rest of the way here in the first half. But Tony Bradley, an impact recruit for Roy Williams-Bonds, making an impact play.
He's been so efficient on the offensive end, but we forget that he's phenomenal on the defensive end. Look at this reaction. What a huge bop by the freshman.
Your donations will benefit the V Foundation for Cancer Research. It's touched us all.
It really has, near to us all, and impacts us in so many different ways. A good buddy of mine that's like my brother, Dan Marlatt, back in South Bend, just found out on Friday that he has colon cancer. Got his port in yesterday, received his first treatment today, and we're all wishing him well, praying for him and his family. And get well. You keep fighting, buddy. We're going to be fighting with you.
Jack Gibbs goes to the line. My mom right now is in the midst of a round of radiation. Caught it very early, thanks to the science that has now been developed from all the donations over the years to try and forward cancer research. So you can't find one person, I think, in America that doesn't understand the importance of a week like Jimmy V week, because who doesn't know someone very close to them that at some point or another has had a bout with some type of cancer.
And what's unique about it is, Bobby, doesn't care if you're super healthy or not. I mean, Dan's vital signs are all really good. And wow, I've known so many people now who are in great physical condition, but yet are struck by cancer in some form or fashion.
North Carolina keeps throwing passes like that. We'll have to check Roy Williams' vital signs because he has watched his team turn it over 8 times here in the first half. And the Heels with only a 7-point lead. Davidson, it felt for a moment like the real wave was coming from North Carolina, but they've stabilized things. Is down on a slip and struggling to get back up is Nate Britt.
Nate Britt holding that left hip a little bit too. That's something to watch for as this game continues to progress.
Straightaway 3 for Gibbs. That's off the mark.
Luke May up ahead. That late challenge there forced him to alter that shot. I think for Carolina, especially with this lineup in, they should continue to probe the interior.
Hitting the underside of the rim, but trying again is the freshman, Tony Bradley, and he'll go to the line to shoot a couple. Will McGarity called for his second, so Nate Britt was shaken up, it seemed, as he slipped and fell in a slippery spot on the court. They don't need to lose another point guard because they're without their best in Joel Berry. Sprained left ankle on Sunday against Radford and was ruled out of tonight's game almost immediately after suffering that injury.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Roy Williams today. He told me he may not even be ready for the next game. And I tell you what, if you're into fashion and GQ, he's looking pretty smooth over there on the sideline.
There at the line for the Florida Gatorade Player of the Year, Tony Bradley.
Tell you what, I love his bounciness. I love how smoothly he glides up and down the floor. He's going to be a monster in the future for Carolina.
Rusty Regal picks up his dribble. Now he needs some help and turns it over.
That's the second time now he's gotten the painted area and picked up his dribble, and it led to a turnover.
Britt, little hesitation dribble, lobs one up to the rim. McGarity has the rebound and a foul call. And that one might go against Luke May. It will. That's his second. It'll be free throws at the other end. Now, Will McGarity, his dad was a professional player from the U.S. that ended up playing overseas, primarily in Germany and Sweden. And McGarity met his wife in Sweden, and that was for at least a portion of his childhood where Will McGarity was raised, one of many international players that Bob McKillop has brought to Davidson.
Well, Bob McKillop has done a great job fishing the international market to bring in guys who fit in his system. Will McGarity got a chance to see him play his first couple years at Boston College. He's a transfer, had to sit out last year. He was a little rusty early part of the season, but really starting to get his legs. I think he's got to be a double-double guy, a 10-10 guy each night for Davidson to try to challenge again for the 8-10 regular season championship.
Kind of an East Coast version of Gonzaga,
yes,
and the model of Mark Few and the number of players that he's brought in.
Very much so. Throw it inside. When Tony Bradley's been in the game, they've got some good stuff.
Robinson buries a triple. Brandon Robinson, the freshman from Douglasville, Georgia. That's his first bucket, and it's a 10-point lead.
That's a big three for him. 4 of 11 start from 3 in the first 5 games. 0 for 6 coming in this game in the last 4.
In and out, trying to answer was Kovacevic.
Bradley's open, find him.
Kovacevic lost his shoe. And throwing it down, getting a chance to hang from the rim is Luke May. Bob McKillop needs a timeout. It was a 5-on-4 because Dusan Kovacevic had one shoe on. It's slippery out there at the top of the key on the Davidson offensive end.
Yeah, Nate Britt took a nice little spill there, and then on the next possession up the floor, well, stepped on his foot there. You got to make sure that you get those sweaty spots wiped up more quickly. Don't want anybody getting hurt out there on the floor. But how good has Luke May been in this game? A career-high 10 points. He's been fantastic.
Offensive foul, moving screen. Second foul on Gudmundsson.
Bob, did you know in 1963 that was the first time that the instant replay was used in an Army-Navy game?
You are a fountain of knowledge.
I've been learning from Bill Walton. A little help from KB, too.
Just take notes. Traveling called on the drive by Justin Jackson. 9 first-half turnovers for North Carolina. They only averaged 13.7 turnovers per game.
Yeah, they're playing a little fast early. The bigs weren't doing a good job of playing out of the double team. Several turnovers created there. And then a couple just ill-advised skips where there was no one in the area, and we saw the basketball just sail out of bounds. Uncharacteristic of the Tar Heels.
Jack Gibbs draws a foul. That'll put him at the line.
It's a really smart play. You know when you come over half court against the Tar Heels that they're going to jump you with 2 guys. And if you're a ball handler, you want to pick the biggest guy and try to attack his hip. And that's exactly what Jack Gibbs did on that possession. Really smart play.
Jackson called for his second. Davidson hasn't missed at the line yet. They're now 10 for 10 at the free throw line as a team.
This game, from a defensive strategy standpoint of Carolina, was to neutralize Jack Gibbs, and they've certainly done that tonight because he can explode for some big numbers. Had 33 against Mercer.
Preseason first team All A-10. And before the season started, was named as a top 50 candidate for the Wooden Award, on the watch list for the Naismith and Cousy Awards as well. He's got 12 of Davidson's 30 here in the first half. Good position underneath for Tony Bradley, but he pulled the string just a bit.
Kovacevic does a really nice job of staying vertical.
That 3 won't go. The back tap ends up with Nate Britt. Britt off to Stillman White, and he's fouled on the drive. So Stillman White will go to the free throw line. Rusty Regal called for his first. Team foul number 10, though, on Davidson, so it's the double bonus.
Bob, as I think about what Davidson has been able to do in terms of controlling tempo early, if I'm Coach McKillop, I'm excited about what they've been able to accomplish, but on the defensive end is where they've really had some struggles here in the last 2 minutes as Gibbs knocks down a sweet pull-up J.
They've also had Peyton Aldridge on the bench in foul trouble, so Gibbs has had to carry the scoring load, which he has done. Shot clock now turned off. And a chance for North Carolina to extend their lead before halftime. Down to 7. 7th Woods had problems with the handle. Here's Nate Britt, old school floater, in and out. The tip follow at the buzzer. Good for Tony Bradley. The officials will go to the monitor just to confirm that Bradley's tip beat the buzzer. But it looked as if it was good, and they seemed to signal that they believed it was good. Let's take another look.
Tony Bradley doing the perfect thing when you get your guard drive and you want to get right to the front of that rim. Beautiful seal on the inside, and I couldn't quite tell, Bob, if he got that thing off in time. Let's take a look here.
Very close.
Very close.
And they will wave it off and say no basket. So it's only a 10-point lead for North Carolina at halftime. Interesting game as we head to the second half. Davidson trailing by 10 here in Chapel Hill. Time for the halftime report, the Land Rover halftime report, and Doug Kazarian.
Bob, thank you very much. Let's get right to the game that preceded this one. 1 versus 2. in women's basketball.
Who puts in his time before and after practice, and he's been able to knock down a ton of threes. 4 of 6 from the three-point line, was 0 of 3 in his last game. But once he made that earlier one from like Raleigh and knocked that one down, gave him great confidence to be able to knock down 3 more. Justin Jackson off to a tremendous start in the first half.
Well, Roy Williams told us earlier today he wants Justin Jackson to be more aggressive offensively. He wants him to take good shots, but be aggressive. Take the ball to the basket. Take the open 3 when you have it. You put the work in, be confident. And he said, you're also 6'8". Once in a while, go get a rebound.
Yeah, he does want him to get on that offensive glass more.
Offensive glass, the work done by Kenny Williams to start off the second half for North Carolina, and they extend to a 12-point lead.
Yeah, and that's one of the keys to this game is you cannot allow North Carolina to get second chance opportunities. That's a poor start for Davidson. They try to get a good look here with some dribble penetration.
Here's Peyton Aldridge, fades away, gets the roll. He'll have to be a big impact player in the second half as he sat a fair amount of the first half with a couple of fouls.
Well, he brings an added score to that first 5 there to take a little pressure off Jack Gibbs, number 12 in red.
And now he gives up the baseline and immediately commits his 3rd foul. So what does Bob McKillop do? Now you're down by 10. And Peyton Aldridge now in foul trouble, although Carolina might have gotten away with one.
That's a bit of a travel there, and that's something that the officials wanted to be looking at here, and this is a great crew we have on the floor. They missed one there.
Well, Coach McKillop is going to leave Peyton Aldridge in the game now with 3 fouls, and I'm not sure that he feels as if he has much of a choice because Jack Gibbs can't be expected to carry the entire scoring load the whole night.
Well, we saw how the offense sputtered when Peyton Aldridge, number 23 in red, went to the bench. They need him as a weapon out there on the floor, and as a junior, sometimes you got to be able to trust your older guys to make good decisions on the defensive end. Let's see if he can keep from picking up that 4th.
Just misses from 3. Although a foul this time will be called on the Tar Heels underneath. That's Kenny Williams. That's his 3rd.
John Axel Gudmundsson did a really nice job of attacking the offensive glass there to create another opportunity for his team. It's been that kind of scrappy play that has kept the game close in the first half for Davidson. They're going to need a ton of that here in the second half.
Gudmundsson for 3. Hits it.
But we talked about how fearless the other players out there on the floor, other than Gibbs and Aldridge, needed to be, and that's a good sign for Davidson.
And Gudmundsson gets a steal. Cruises in and gets his shot. Swatted off the backboard by Kenny Williams. Wow. Hicks muscles his way to the goal. Can't hit it. It's out of bounds, goes over to Davidson, but John Axel Gudmundsson at some point is going to be able to pick up this poster in a souvenir store and see himself on the wrong end of it.
Yeah, LeBron James playing in New York tonight, but how about the reaction here for Kenny Williams to get out and erase that one? What a incredible play. #23 in red, number 12 in red are going to have to carry the offensive load here for Davidson.
Way outside. Gudmundsson can't hit. Britt, like lightning, sets up Jackson for 3. The long rebound to Gudmundsson. Trailing is Gibbs.
He doesn't miss very many of those.
That was dead on line, but just a little too strong. Williams attacks, and a foul called. That'll be a block, and that will go against John Axel Gudmundsson. That's his 3rd.
I think right now, Bob, if you're North Carolina, continue to push on misses and makes, trying to get to the front of the rim. When they get into the half court, I think they got to go back to their bigs on the inside. Kenny Meeks was a little quiet, number 3 in white there in the first half. And Isaiah Hicks, those 2 inside have to play together and make quick moves when they catch the ball down in the post to avoid the double team.
Kennedy Meeks only had 1 field goal attempt in the first half and a couple of rebounds. He came into tonight averaging a double-double. Britt, finger roll, just a hair too strong. And Will McGarrity's there for the rebound. Gibbs doesn't get the roll. Meeks with the outlet to Jackson.
Got numbers.
Jackson gives it up. Flying to the goal, Isaiah Hicks.
Whew. That's Carolina basketball right there.
Gibbs in the lane. Hit the underside of the rim, but draws a foul.
Oh, I think he sold that one. Not sure there was much contact there.
That foul is on Isaiah Hicks, but he had that highlight at the other end.
Look at the early push, and that's one of the wonderful things about this Carolina front line. They have several guys who can get out and run the floor. Isaiah Hicks, wow, looked like he jumped off a trampoline to send that one.
Hicks called for his third foul. Nice job by Jordan Watkins, by the way. I've been in that position. Just get out of the way. To see how he thought for a moment about maybe kind of leaning in and faking it. Maybe I'll kind of take a charge here.
Good decision.
And then, yeah, that was a business decision by Jordan Watkins, and a good one.
That's great. Punch that ball inside. Kennedy Meeks a little frustrated on the weak side of the floor. He's open.
Tough catch. Can't finish. He is fouled, though. That's Nathan Ekwu. That's his fourth. So Nathan Ekwu just can't stay on the floor. Every time he's out there for 3 minutes or more at a time, at some point commits a foul. And now he'll have to go back to the bench again as Peyton Aldridge will check right back in.
Well, that's a tough matchup. Nathan Ekwu, 6'7", 235 pounds, but he's having to wrestle with Kennedy Meeks, who's 6'8", 6'9". Tony Bradley, 6'10", Isaiah Hicks, 6'9", just overmatched out there on the floor. But I love what North Carolina's doing, is they're recognizing that mismatch out on the floor and getting it inside to their bigs.
Kennedy Meeks, since coming to North Carolina as a McDonald's All-American, has lost 60 pounds from what he was in high school when he first came to UNC to what he is now. He has completely changed his body type under Roy Williams here in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, his best game of the year was against Wisconsin in Maui. 15 points, 16 rebounds. Off to a great start to the season.
Aldridge backing his way into the post. And Meeks pulls down the rebound again. Jackson turns the corner. Old school floater is good.
I think they may have called it for a charge.
They scored the basket, but also called a foul underneath on North Carolina.
And the rule, folks, is your feet have to be on, above, or inside the arc. It's a block if that's the case.
They actually called the foul on Kennedy Meeks away from the ball.
I didn't see that one.
While the shot from Justin Jackson was in the air. Wow. So I'm not sure our camera picked up the bump from Kennedy Meeks, but Meeks was called for his third to score the bucket, but Meeks commits his third foul. Losing it on the way up is Jack Gibbs. Found it again, but it's tapped to Justin Jackson.
Got numbers again.
Kenny Williams traveled. Let's take a look at the top of your screen at Kennedy Meeks, and we should be able to pick up the foul off of the Jackson floater.
The only thing I can see is maybe they're considering it a moving screen, but that's a tough one missed there by the official.
We about to start the party.
Wow.
Where Charlie Scott was brought in by Dean Smith as the first African-American to receive a basketball scholarship in the ACC 50 years ago.
Wow. I had the privilege of meeting Charlie Scott. What a wonderfully polished gentleman. Heck of a ball player, too.
Aldridge. Shot clock winding down. And he is bumped by Luke May.
Well, it's clear who Davidson has to get the basketball to, especially with this lineup on the floor. Peyton Aldridge, number 23 in red, is going to have to carry the offense with Jack Gibbs over on the bench. But they bring Jack Gibbs right back into the basketball game. So those two are going to have to carry the offense. And Bob, they don't have to score it necessarily every time, but they do have to create plays for themselves and for their teammates, because when they've been out on the floor, the offense has been stagnant when it's not been in their hands.
Fourth team foul on North Carolina.
Nice
Backdoor cut. The floater, too strong from Jack Gibbs.
Thinking about the length of Carolina, altered that shot. Throw it right back inside. Biggs are doing a great job of getting low, deep post position. Throw inside.
May. And the rebound out of bounds. Stays with North Carolina with a fresh 30.
I really like how aggressive Luke May has been on the offensive end, looking for that 15-foot shot. We saw him make a three earlier in the game. If the way they play that double post, if the opposite big can make a 15-foot jump shot or even a three, it'll open up the inside for the other big on the weak side of the floor.
Well, Luke May almost went to Davidson. Huntersville, North Carolina is Luke May's hometown. Very close to Davidson, and apparently it came down to a three-way choice between Notre Dame, North Carolina, and Davidson, and he chose North Carolina. But whenever the Heels play the Wildcats, it's a game where Luke May wants to play well. It's kind of his hometown game.
Yeah, and his dad played quarterback at UNC from 84 to 87. I'm sure he had a little bit of influence in that decision. Much better movement from Davidson. Wow, another illegal screen.
Yeah, too much movement from Kovacevic. So that's the fourth foul in the second half on the Wildcats. Each team with 4 team fouls, so only a couple more to give, and we haven't even yet played 6 minutes here in the second half. Now, Bob McKillop's team shoots 80% as a team from the line, so if they could ever get in the bonus, they could free throw shoot their way back in the game.
Indeed.
Another foul called on Kovacevic.
It's a nice diagonal screen by Justin Jackson to get Tony Bradley going down the lane. I like the fact that North Carolina is starting to be a little bit more intentional about getting that basketball inside.
Dusan Kovacevic, who, by the way, that is not the pronunciation in Davidson's own media guide, as Jackson leans in and scores. That's because apparently they've had to change the pronunciation in their own guide about a dozen times since Kovacevic has come to Davidson. They were just never able to get it right. They think they have it right now.
That's why I like simple names like Ellis.
McGarity turns it over. Here comes Stillman White. Coast to coast, comes up short. And it's over to Davidson.
And Bob, earlier that foul on Kennedy Meeks that I said the officials were incorrect on, they're correct 99% of the time. I was absolutely wrong.
College basketball, a doubleheader action on Saturday on ESPN, first at 3:15 Eastern. Nebraska and number 3 Kansas. Then at 5:15, UNLV takes on 5th-ranked Duke. Both games are on ESPN and also available streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app.
Duke already a dangerous team this year. Now you add Jason Tatum and Marquise Bolden. Now all of a sudden they become an even much more dangerous team.
You say that, but how hard is it to work those pieces back in when they have gone such a long period of time without them, as that floater goes for Peyton Aldridge?
Well, what happens is with that group, and I've gotten a chance to know that group over the years, is they're so unselfish. And with Coach K, they have quick buy-in where he doesn't have to work on those kinds of things. So the unselfish nature of those guys, as Kennedy Meeks knocks in one off the glass, is what will make all of that work.
But the players that were missing were freshmen.
Yes.
So those are new pieces. Those are players that haven't spent a lot of time with this group. And obviously, if, Luke Kennard, Grayson Allen, and Emil Jefferson, when you're missing players like that, maybe they can be more seamless when they return because they're used to playing with their teammates. But is it more difficult with new teammates and freshmen just trying to adjust to playing basketball at this level?
Defensively, yes, but offensively, all of those guys are incredibly skilled and very unselfish. And when you have those kind of guys at your disposal, it makes it work with great leadership with Emil Jefferson.
Now, is there any doubt in your mind that when Duke has all of their pieces healthy, they're the #1 team in America, or at least the most talented team? They fall into 5th with 1 loss. Villanova wins the national championship last year, and now they're back up to #1.
Well, I think it speaks volumes of what Duke is this year as a team, the fact that they've been without their freshmen and in the top 5 in the nation. So now you add all of those pieces back. I have Duke winning the national championship. So much depth at the guard spot. Luke Kennard is having a player of the year kind of year for Duke. So many pieces. They have bigs across the front line that can score and rebound the basketball. This is a very dangerous Duke Blue Devil team.
Largest lead for North Carolina now, up to 16.
You think we're going to be able to make it out of here tonight talking about Duke?
Not sure if the people that are in here can hear us.
Okay. I'll be quiet.
Just keep your voice down.
Okay, my bad.
Gibbs for 3. Badly needed shot goes down for Davidson from their leading scorer, as Jack Gibbs has 18. Stillman White fouled at the other end, though. Keyshawn Pritchett is called for the 6th foul. Check that, the 7th foul on Davidson, so it will be a 1-and-1 for Stillman White.
Bob, it's important that your point guard and your head coach be in sync. Watch Roy Williams actually turn around and talking to Joe Barry about what's going on the floor. And that's the kind of leadership that Joe Barry brings to this team, that his coach has the confidence in him to turn around and ask him what it should be. What a great synergy between the head coach and player, especially at the point guard position. That's special.
And one man's injury, with Joe Barry out with a sprained left ankle, becomes others' opportunity. And when Barry's 100% healthy, when Theo Pinson's 100% healthy, does Stillman White get a chance to play regular minutes? Well, he's played a decent amount tonight. He's got 4 points.
But you got to respect Stillman White, always ready when his number is called, though he doesn't get the opportunity to play as much. So important to this North Carolina team and their depth, especially in the backcourt.
Aldridge throws a wild one up. May called for the foul. That's his 4th. And that takes us to the under 12-minute timeout. So free throws when we return for Peyton Aldridge. And it will be Aldridge and Gibbs that will have to light it up down the stretch to try and get Davidson back in the game.
Yeah, so far, Davidson is sitting on the dock of the bay. Do you remember that, or was that before your time?
I'm embarrassed to say that I was still just a twinkle in my parents' eye when Otis let that song loose.
But it's such a great song.
I've heard the song. It's just a few years before I was born.
Okay.
I'm familiar with sitting on the dock of the bay. Hicks got caught in midair, sets up White. Crowd was hoping that one would go down. Instead, the long rebound to 7th Woods.
Nice pass.
Big to big, nice find. Kennedy Meeks to Isaiah Hicks.
I love when North Carolina's intentional about throwing the basketball down into the painted area. And when Kennedy Meeks makes quick decisions and quick moves with the basketball, it's a good thing for Carolina. What a beautiful big to big as pass there as Peyton Aldridge travels on that possession.
14th Davidson turnover.
Bob, this is what it would look like if you and I were playing together. I'll get that thing down in the post, double team on me, and find you on the other side. What a beautiful pass, big to big, from Meeks to Isaiah Hicks.
Yeah, Isaiah Hicks, I would say, most resembles my body type of the players that are on the floor.
Nice.
Athletic at 6'9".
I agree.
7th Woods hits the backboard first. Has this game gotten away from Davidson, or do they still have a run in them with their three-point shooters as Kovacevic misses a long one?
With their ability to shoot the three, they shoot 30 threes per game and make 10. Only down 15, even on the road. There's a lot of time left in this game, but they got to get the ball moving around the floor to loosen up that Carolina defense.
Gibbs, step back. Boy, did they need that one. Not going away yet, Davidson. They are barely shooting over 30% from the field as a team.
Wow,
and they're 6 of 22 from 3, but they're only down 12.
Good patience in the double team.
Stillman White can't save it. So a chance for Davidson to either cut the lead to 10 or possibly 9.
But Davidson's had some success when they've moved the basketball from side to side and get that defense of North Carolina moving. It's created some opportunities. Even that last three that Jack Gibbs knocked down, he was on the move, stepped back to create some space to get that shot off. They're going to need a lot more of that here to close the gap.
Nate Britt, Kenny Williams, and Justin Jackson all back in the game, as that's an air ball tossed up that time from Jack Gibbs. And here comes Justin Jackson. He'll attack the goal. Comes up short. A chance for Jack Gibbs to push tempo the other way. Kovacevic, way off the mark.
Now Kovacevic is 2 for 4 from 3 on the year.
He's 0 for 3 so far in tonight's game.
Indeed, and so I think you got to reverse that ball and try to get something on the other side. Post has been awfully good for Carolina. I think they called Justin Jackson for an elbow.
Away from the ball. That's his third.
I wonder if they'll go to the video and see if that was flagrant.
It does look as if, yes, we are going to have Ron Groover, one of the officials, go over to the monitor to take a look.
Yeah, I think that may have been incidental. I'm not sure there was anything there. Certainly got hit, but I think it was incidental.
So you would have called and maybe expect that they will stick with the call that that's just a common foul on Justin Jackson. You agree it should have been a foul, but nothing beyond that?
I don't think so, because watch him post up here. It's not like he threw an elbow. Yeah, he more slid into that elbow. So I expect it to just be a common foul.
I think that was very quickly the call confirmed by Ron Groover. So they will stay with just a common foul on Justin Jackson. Team foul number 6, though, on North Carolina. So both teams are now over the limit. We'll shoot free throws the rest of the way. And that would be advantage Davidson.
Yes.
80% at the line as a team. Jack Gibbs shoots 86%. Peyton Aldridge close to 80% as well. They're two best players. As you would expect, good free throw shooting. And they are 14 of 15 as a team in the game so far tonight. Gudmundsson leans in with the left hand.
What
Davidson down by 10.
Yeah, Davidson just won't go away.
And the crowd senses it.
Throw it inside. Carolina's gotten some good stuff when they've thrown that ball inside.
Jackson for 3. Doesn't get the roll. Aldridge was able to bank the ball over to Jack Gibbs, and now a chance for Davidson to get it to single digits.
Keep moving without the basketball. Continue to move that defense. Some opportunities will avail themselves on the offensive end.
Regal turns it over. Kenny Williams plays catch with Jackson, who hits a 3.
Bob, those live ball turnovers of Davidson have turned into several transition points tonight for Carolina.
A foul that will put Jack Gibbs at the free throw line, but Justin Jackson is now over 20 points scored for the 4th time. And this now the 10th game that North Carolina has played.
The coach wants them to be more aggressive on the offensive end, wants them to get to the offensive glass, and he's been really aggressive in hunting his shot tonight. And in Joel Berry's absence, they've needed him to be more aggressive on the offensive end, and he's delivered.
And 5 made threes for Justin Jackson, already a career high, and we still have 8.5 minutes to go.
He's only shooting about 35% from the three-point line, but he shot it with a lot of confidence tonight.
A back tap off the missed free throw. Aldridge can't connect from 3. Gudmundsson tries to keep it alive, but it goes to North Carolina.
That's great hustle from Gudmundsson.
A chance of Gudmundsson could have saved it if Aldridge could have hit that 3 for a 4-point trip. But here's that giveaway, so crucial as Regal turns it over and the North Carolina converts the other way.
Well, Carolina, one of the best teams at transitioning quickly, getting to the other side. And they do a nice job of trying to find Justin Jackson, who's delivered time and time tonight from the three.
Kenny Williams with a triple of his own.
Kenny Williams shooting 50% from the three-point line on the year. Nice rhythm there.
Strong drive by Peyton Aldridge. Aldridge now has 16. Britt pulls up. That's a Britt.
Gonna find number 12, Jack Gibbs.
They do. Quick trigger three. Goes down. And just like that, Davidson down by 10 again with 7.5 minutes to go.
And Bob, I feel right now, North Carolina's taken so many jump shots. They got to throw that basketball down inside. Kennedy Meeks has gotten very few touches in this game.
And that foul will go, I think, against Isaiah Hicks, trying to fight for that rebound off the miss of Kenny Williams. And that's the 4th foul on Isaiah Hicks. When we come back, Davidson will be shooting free throws to try and cut the lead down to single digits, as Jack Gibbs has 5 threes on the night. Fonzo Ellis, a 10-point lead for North Carolina, but it's only 10 because Jack Gibbs continues to hit threes, key moments to keep Davidson in it. And now it's Peyton Aldridge at the free throw line, Fonz, cutting the lead back to single digits with 7:14 to go.
Well, we've said all evening long that it's those two guys that have to carry the offense, and they have done that here in the second half. Now only down 8 here with an opportunity to get a stop.
It's a 7-0 run.
Yeah, throw it inside. Carolina has been reluctant to throw the basketball inside, and I think that's really hurt them here in the last 2 minutes.
Shot clock down to 10. Kennedy Meeks is trying to post up. They just can't get him the ball. Instead, it's Stillman White to Jackson for 3. Knocks it down with 3 on the shot clock. 6 threes in the game for Justin Jackson.
But Bob, the look into the post caused the sink by Davidson, which created a long run to try to get out to Justin Jackson, who was wide open. Nicely executed by Stillman White.
McGarity flips it around Meeks with English off the window.
A little bit unorthodox.
A little bit?
But that was pretty good.
Meeks steps out, knocks down a 12-footer.
Yeah, the big man is capable of knocking down the 15-footer, can score in the post. I don't think Carolina's gone to him enough here, especially in the second half. Woo,
Gibbs,
pretty.
a little jab step jumper goes. Wow. 27 for Jack Gibbs. Jackson tries a 3 again. He is on fire tonight from behind the arc.
What a nice screen by Nate Britt.
Gibbs answers with a long 2. Davidson at some point needs to get some stops. Kennedy Meeks blocked. And it's out of bounds. And it will go over to Davidson.
It's so important to not catch the basketball too low on the post. Meeks did that, and it hurt him because it put him on the side of the backboard. But my goodness, what a move. Look at, ooh, wow, what a step back there by Gibbs. And Justin Jackson coming off that screen by Britt. Too much room at 6'8", high elevation, drills another 3.
Aldridge, no good.
Jackson's been hot. See if they can keep him coming off some screens.
Stillman White is fouled. just clipped on the drive by John Axel Goodmanson. So Stillman White will go to the line as Goodmanson is called for his fourth. It's a 1-1. And again, Jack Gibbs, 8th in America in scoring. Peyton Aldridge also averages 19.7 points per game. So they are tied coming into tonight as the highest scoring duo in college basketball as well.
Yeah, right now Gibbs has 29, Aldridge 18, the rest of the team with 17. So each of them individually have outscored their entire team.
Important free throws from Stillman White. In the absence of Joel Berry, quality minutes in the backcourt for Stillman White.
He's been so good tonight.
Goodmanson for three. Yes! And Bob McKillop wants a timeout.
What a smart timeout, because now he'll get a chance to rest his guys and get the full TV timeout as well.
4:19 to go. Davidson continues to make a push. Down by two. Give what you can to help in the fight against cancer. Bob Wischusen alongside LaFonso Ellis here in Chapel Hill, where Davidson won't go away. Every time it seems like a big Justin Jackson three goes down or there's a game-changing play by North Carolina, Davidson has an answer to at least stay in the game.
Yeah, Jack Gibbs and Peyton Aldridge have been phenomenal together here in the second half.
And now a foul called by Ted Valentine on Nate Britt away from the ball. So a chance for Davidson to draw closer. Peyton Aldridge muscles one up over Justin Jackson.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for Jackson on the interior, especially playing down in the post. Good recognition there by Davidson.
Can Davidson get enough stops? Down now by 7.
Miss Jackson, he was open in the post.
Meeks immediately double team. That pass deflected. Goodmanson gets the steal, able to tip it to Rusty Riegel.
Go right back to Peyton Aldridge.
They do. And Aldridge with the left hand is able to put it down. It's a 5-point game with 3:20 to go.
Get the ball into Justin Jackson's hands. He's been the hot guy all night long, but particularly here in the second half.
Jackson wants another three. That comes up way short. Taken in the corner by Jack Gibbs. And a chance for Davidson to make it a one-possession game. Gibbs allows the flyby, fades away and misses everything. Riegel taps it. Nate Britt stepped on the end line. Davidson's got the basketball. That was a nice hustle play by Rusty Riegel. A 15-point lead not that long ago has been whittled down to 5 with 2:51 remaining. Who would have thought the last 3 minutes would have had Davidson right in it against Roy Williams' team, but a 7-0 Wildcats run has the Tar Heels head coach frustrated. Doug, we certainly do. And following another ball game over on ESPN, Warriors-Clippers. Stick around for SportsCenter at night with Neil and Stan. They'll have all the NBA, NHL, college basketball highlights, the NFL news, also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. Right out of the timeout, air ball tossed up by Aldridge, saved by Gibbs, but here comes Justin Jackson. Trailing, Kenny Williams thought about a three, instead it's Jackson. Meeks, double team to the corner, has to give it up.
With Hicks back in the lineup, you can go a lot high ball screen action here.
Shot clock to 5. Jackson for 3. Doesn't get the roll. Through the hands of Meeks. A scramble for it at midcourt. Riegel's got it. Held ball, and the arrow gives it to Davidson.
Tell you what, Davidson has shown tremendous guts and toughness here in the second half. Not only to fight back into this game, but they are battling after every single basketball, able to come up with that possession here.
North Carolina's largest lead with just under 13 minutes to go was 16. Davidson has it cut all the way down to 5, trying to make it a one-possession game with 2:08 to go. And Jack Gibbs, equally effective in both halves. A 29-point night.
Nice pass.
He throws it down. What a find from Davidson. It's a one-possession game with under 2 minutes to go.
Get it to Jackson. He's open there. Had him on the post and missed him.
Nate Britt drives, throws it to Meeks. That's blocked. Tries again. Foul call. Kennedy Meeks will go to the free throw line.
Tell you what soft hands by Kennedy Meeks to catch that basketball. What a nice job by Nate Britt driving the baseline. Drew 2 defenders underneath, and watch the tight window, folks, as he catches that basketball underneath. Wow, what a pass. Will McGarity to catch and finish underneath. What vision.
McGarity committed that foul, his third. Kennedy Meeks this season only 54% at the free throw line. He's now 4 for 5 tonight. Clutch free throws from Kennedy Meeks. Gibbs, backdoor to Aldridge. Fumbled it. On the deck looking for it. Held ball. Carolina has the arrow.
Nate Britt and Kenny Williams with a quick reaction to tie that basketball up on the floor. Possession arrow belonging to Carolina. It's a little early here. You don't need to foul. Two possession game here. Get it to Jackson. Or throw that basketball down in the post.
1 minute to go. Britt for 3. In and out. Offensive rebound. Hicks draws the foul. The size of North Carolina on these last 2 possessions is changing the game. Kennedy Meeks worked his way to the free throw line with offensive fouls, or offensive rebounds, I should say, and now Isaiah Hicks does the same the next trip down.
And most bigs, when you're in that situation, your tendency is to put your hands down and maybe push into the back. Watch how vertical he is to go up after that basketball. Really nicely executed by Isaiah Hicks, who's also a really good free throw shooter as well.
Last year, he was the ACC 6th man of the year, but with Bryce Johnson no longer here, now he steps into a starting role. And according to Roy Williams, the one area he feels like Isaiah Hicks has to improve upon is rebounding. That he needs to be up there more aggressive on the glass. Well, just change the game with an offensive rebound there. Gibbs throws one back to Aldridge. That hit the backboard first. Davidson keeps it alive. Although he stepped on the sideline before saving it.
What an effort, though, by the Davidson Wildcats, not giving up here on the road. You're right, though. The front line of North Carolina has really flexed their muscle down in the post and on that offensive glass. I think here you got to go for a steal. If you don't get it, you may want to think about taking a foul.
Great ball movement by North Carolina, playing keep away. At some point, Davidson has to give a foul. And now Jack Gibbs does. Nate Britt will shoot.
The size and length of Carolina allowing them to play a little bit of keep away on that possession.
Well, back in the days of pre-shot clock, what team was better than some of those old Dean Smith teams at playing 4 corners? There's Phil Ford. a smile on his face. It seemed like the good old days there for a moment. As in modern basketball, with that 30-second shot clock, 4 corners is not something that teams practice too often. But boy, North Carolina just executed it to perfection.
Yes. And folks, that's right. You see Nate Britt shooting that basketball from the perimeter with his right hand, but is now shooting it from the free throw line with his left. Not many guys ambidextrous that way.
He made that switch last year and improved his free throw shooting as a result. Well, now some threes have to go up. Instead, Davidson turns it over. Kenny Williams has it. Jack Gibbs gives the foul, and North Carolina is going to escape at home, it looks like, with a win. But Davidson made them earn it every step of the way. When they were up 16, Fonz, it looked like they might pull away. And Davidson very much made it a game, cutting it to 1 possession with under 2 minutes to go.
Yeah, their activity and effort, willing to dive on the floor, sacrificing their bodies for loose balls. And Peyton Aldridge, Jack Gibbs, 23 and 12 respectively in red, have carried the offense here in the second half for Davidson. But Carolina showing a bit of scrap here themselves down the stretch.
Gibbs threw that one to the moon, but it looks like a foul may have been called on Kenny Williams. Why Kenny Williams would commit a foul with his team up by 9 with 18 seconds to go, I think is perplexing his head coach. But Jack Gibbs a chance to score at the free throw line. And this would give him a 30-point night if he can knock it down. But he cannot.
And folks, notice he doesn't take a dribble on his free throw shots. And so let's see if he can get a good pass here from the referee, because if he doesn't get a good pass, that's an awkward shot. Davidson will try to trap here in the backcourt, and if they don't get it right away, he'll take a foul in the backcourt. Not a lot of time left.
Nate Britt fouled by Jordan Watkins. And Watkins was in simply to give that foul, as now Goodmanson jumps right back up off the bench, as does Peyton Aldridge.
Nate Britt, one of the unsung heroes on this Carolina team, a guy whose minutes have been up and down over the last couple of years, but he stayed at it. A great attitude and maturity from that young man. To every time Roy Williams calls upon him, he is ready, and he's delivered for his team tonight. The best perimeter defender on this Carolina Tar Heel team.
Offensive rebound, Isaiah Hicks keeps it alive to Britt. Throws it back out near midcourt to Jackson. And now Davidson waves the white flag. So the night ends for North Carolina Fonz with an offensive rebound. In a way it should. The biggest plays they made down the stretch on the offensive glass.
Their length and athleticism proved to be too much down the stretch. Julianne
Moore was here to see her son's team play, but couldn't write the Hollywood script for the comeback for Davidson. North Carolina survives 83-74. That's a good win for Roy Williams' team. Coming up next on ESPN2, more college basketball action as Washington takes on number 8 Gonzaga. So for LaFonso Ellis, I'm Bob Wischusen. So long from Chapel Hill. Number 7 pulls it out against Davidson.